So guys, we are here with our head. Yeah, this is not exactly super nice, but now I need to move the lamp. Let's move the lamp a little bit, but in object mode, in sculpting mode, while we are here, although here we are in layout, but we're definitely in sculpting mode. You see here in the left corner here, sculpt mode. So we have to go to object mode in order to move the things around. And so how to do that? We go Control Tab and left, object mode. And now we can click on the lamp and move it around. How to move it around? You can do it with the gizmo, with this gizmo, transform gizmo. I'm using this gizmo because it combines the rotation, it has rotation, it has also moving, it has also scale, which on the lamp doesn't matter, the scale and stuff. You can scale the lamp from these options here on the lamp, this object data properties. You see this light bulb here, and this is how you change the options of the lamp. You can change the radius of the lamp and stuff like this. So, but other than that, I go to select box, so to not have this gizmo. And while I'm having the lamp selected, what I do is I rotate my camera around, and then I press G to move. And I rotate, and I press G to move. I press G and then move. It's just that simple. Just press G and then just move your mouse without pressing any buttons. Just move your mouse, or just hover with your pen, and you will see this. This looks relatively nice. Okay, the camera is here. We don't care about this. It's kind of in a strange position there, but whatever. So, what I forgot to tell you is that we are working in Blender 3.0 now. So, I advise you to work with Blender 3 and above. So, yeah, because if you're working with some older version of Blender, some of the shortcuts won't be the same, and the shortcuts are pretty important. So, I advise you to use it. So, how can you find out which version of Blender are you using? It's here in the top left. You can click, and it's okay. You cannot see that, so I will have to move this down. All right. So now you can see this Blender icon. You click on it, about Blender, and it's at Blender 3.0000. All right. And the date is kind of not correct, because this is the date for, I think I installed it in this date. I'm not sure. What is this? This is around 2 months from now, 2 months back, but whatever. Yeah. So we continue this head. We have to go again to sculpting mode, so we can, but first, okay, let's go to sculpting mode, by the way. Let's go. So you can click here, up here, sculpting, or layout, sculpting, layout, sculpting. If you haven't seen it in the previous video, since I may kind of had this a little bit above my screen, and sculpting, layout. So in sculpting mode, we can rotate, we can kind of press G to get the grab brush and to move around. But now, for example, we are ready to put eyeballs on our guy, although it's not exactly ready. It's not nice enough for me, but whatever, it doesn't matter that much. It's just for practice. So how to put eyeballs? We have to go again, Control Tab, object mode. This menu is called pie menu. They call it pie menu. I call it mouse menu because it appears wherever your mouse is. So object mode, and then we have to go Shift A. What was Shift A? Shift A was to add a mesh. Of course, again, I don't have the keys. Okay, now we have them. We have to restart, obviously, this keys, but when we have them, we have them. They are the best. Let me move my camera a little bit. Oops. I'm over the keys now. It's not good. So I'll move myself like this. All right. Now, what did I press? Something disappeared. Maybe just the tab. No. By the way, sometimes you can do this and you will say, what is happening? And you see, I pressed Control Spacebar. Once I pressed it, and it was by accident, and I lost my menus, all the menus. And it was not good. I was like, what's happening here? Why is this happening to me? But whatever. Now we have lost the down bar here with the animation, but we don't care because we will not use it for now. So we have this. How to add? Shift A, Mesh, UV Sphere. We add the sphere. But don't move or scale the sphere yet. We have to go to edit mode to do that. Because if you scale it and move it now, let me show you what will happen. So I will scale it with S. By the way, S key, you see it here, S, is for scaling. Very interesting. G is for moving. S is for scaling. So I will scale this this size, and I'll go like this, and I'll just move it, rotate the camera, and with G I move it, rotate the camera, and with G I move it. Of course, you can always use one of the gizmos, the move gizmo or the transform gizmo, and move it this way. Of course, I kind of like to use the shortcuts. I'm not sure, right? I like to use the shortcuts. So now our mesh is here in the eye, and now we want to apply one of the most used modifiers here in Blender, which is the mirror modifier. So we have another eye. So we have both eyes. I mean, yeah, you know. So how do we do that? I will go down. Okay, we will go to the modifier tab on the eye. While we are on the eye, we go to the modifier tab, add modifier. Modifier tab is this wrench icon, modifier properties. So we go here, and you see a lot of modifiers here. We will use just few of them. We'll use, let me see, we will probably use the boolean. Maybe I will show you the boolean. We will use the multi-resolution. It's very important. Solidify, we'll see. Mirror, of course. And maybe shrink wrap. Yeah, it's a cool modifier. And subdivision surface. Yeah, those are the modifiers that I mostly use. But now we need the mirror modifier, so we click on the mirror modifier. And this is the mirror modifier. And now it has to mirror our object to the other side, but it didn't do that. Why? Because we moved it out of edit mode. We moved it in this object mode. When you move it in this object mode, you are kind of messing it up. Now we have two options in order to make it mirror. First option is to click on the mirror object here on this eyedropper here, and click on our head, for example. And now you see this is using the center of the head to the center of symmetry for the eyes, which is good. We can do that. But the other option is to go on the eye, Control A, you see it there, Control A. Control A is applying transformations and everything. And I will show you, when we press N, we get this menu. And this menu will also get with just this little arrow here. But N is, you see, N. So with this menu, we can go to Item. And now we can see that location is messed up. The location of our eye is messed up. It's not in the 0, and it has to be in the 0. So we can do this backspace while we're hovering here over those. Backspace will zero them out. And now our location will be 0, but the eye is not exactly where we want it. So I will Control Z, and we want the eye to be here. So we have to apply the transformations. And how to do that? It's in, I think it's in Object, Apply, with Control A. You see the shortcut here, Control A, and then all transforms I apply, always. All transforms, and now they are applied, and the mirror modifier miraculously starts working. So don't forget, the mirror modifier is very important. We are always using it for this kind of things, to make symmetrical things, but it could work, it could not work. So I will delete none of these eyes, and I will show you something else. If we go, and I will press N to go out of this, we Shift A and create another sphere. Okay, good. But now instead of starting to scale it and do it, we go to edit mode with Tab. We press Tab, we go to edit mode. Now in the edit mode, it's interesting. We will go to edit mode a lot of times in this course. I will show you all the time what you can do inside, because it can be a little frustrating in the beginning. We have some new options here. We have loop cut, bevel, inset. You are doing all the hard surface work here in edit mode. But now we want just to scale and to move this sphere. So now it's selected, but if you accidentally click out of it, it will deselect it. So now you cannot move it. You cannot move anything because you haven't selected anything. If you want to select your object, and you have only one object now, which is the sphere, we press A to select it, double A to deselect it, A to select it, double A to deselect it. So this could be good. The other option to select it, the whole mesh, is to select it like this. But in Blender, if you select it like this, when you rotate, you will see you have selected only the front faces, which sometimes can be useful. But in this case, we want to select the whole object. So A is your option. It will select everything. So A is selecting. It's very important, by the way. A. Yeah, selecting is one of the most important things to be able to kind of work with objects in Blender or in any 3D software. The other way to select it, for example, if I press A to select it and I press Shift D, Shift D duplicate. Shift D, by the way, is duplicate in object mode, also in edit mode. But now in edit mode, this is one mesh. Those two spheres are now one mesh. They are here, they are sphere 01. Both of them are sphere 01. You can see if I press tab to escape, I go to this, and sphere 01 is those two spheres now. So why did I do that? Because when I go to edit mode again with tab to go to edit mode, you see it here, tab, just above me. And now I want to select just one of the spheres. If I press A, I select both spheres. How to select only one of them? So to select one continuous object and not select the other objects that are not attached to this one, you go over this object with your mouse and press L. It's a little bit inconvenient because L is far away from the keyboard, but we don't do that often, so it's kind of good. It's fine. It's okay. L, no problem. If you get used to it, it will be fine. So now I can press G and move this object around. With L again on the other object, I can select it. So I'm just not clicking on the object. I'm just pressing L while I'm on the object. My mouse is over the object. If I want to deselect, of course, just one of the objects, it's Shift L maybe, or Alt L. Let's see. No, Shift L. Sometimes, yeah, Shift L, basically. So if you want to, if select is L, for example, so deselect will be either Alt or Shift L, for example. This is how things works in Blender. So I want just one of the objects, the other one I don't want, so I will delete it. I will go and press double A. Double A is deselecting everything. Then I press L while I'm on this, and then I press X. And when you have entered edit mode and you have vertices, you have faces, you have everything, not just objects. Now we have on this X menu, which is the delete menu, you have a lot of options. Most of the time I use faces. So I delete faces. If I press this, it will delete the object. Delete all the faces they have selected. For example, if I go here and select those faces, by the way, now I'm on vertex selection mode. So you see the vertices here. Now you're on the vertex selection mode. You see here on the top, vertices is the first one. The second one is edges, and faces is the third one. The shortcuts are 1, 2, 3. So 2 is edges, 3 is faces, first one, 1 is vertices. 1, 2, 3. This is the same in 3D Max, and in ZBrush not so much, but in most programs it's like this. So if I want to select the faces and delete some of the faces, I can do this, and now I have selected only the front faces. In the back I haven't, and then I press X and it remembers the faces that I have selected last time, faces, and I delete them, and the other ones remain. So I Control Z because I don't want to delete them. I want to select everything. So I press L, select everything, then S to scale, then G to move, then S to scale, then G to move, and then G to move again in our position. And I'm rotating my scene with Alt tablet click. Or you can use, of course, the middle mouse button, but I advise you to try to get used to the pen technique, to use it, because it will be easier. And again, like I told you, I will repeat, if you want to use your tablet and use Alt tablet click to rotate, Alt Shift and tablet click to move, and Alt Control and tablet up and down to zoom in and out, you have to go to Edit, Preferences, and emulate 3-button mouse here in the Input tab. Emulate 3-button mouse. By the way, while we're here, I will show you something else, add-ons. In this, you have a lot of add-ons which are not enabled by default. They are inside the Blender, they are free, they are inside Blender, but they are not enabled by default. Why they are not enabled by default, you will say? Because Blender, if you enable many add-ons, it will start loading slower, it will be kind of start getting sluggish a little bit by little bit, add-on by add-on. So we enable just few add-ons which we need, and the most needed add-on, and I will show you again how to enable, but now F2. F2 add-on, this is not Cyrillic, F2 add-on is Mesh F2. This is very important. So now it's clicked, so it's active, F2 add-on. It's very important, and without it, it will be difficult to make the hard surface modeling like you need to be doing it. So whatever, this is not important right now. The important thing is in input, emulate 3-button mouse, because if you don't do that, you will not be able to work with your pen as I told you to. So now we have this eye, and now it's kind of on the right position. For example, it's the right size, although I think it's a little bit big. Let's see here. Yeah, it's big. I will scale it a little bit more down. And what have I pressed here? This here is the X-ray, toggle X-ray. The key is Alt-Z. With Alt-Z, you can X-ray. It's not exactly the same, by the way. This, I'm pressing Shift-Z. Okay, Alt-Z is X-ray. Okay, Alt-Z. I don't use that shortcut too often, although I should. So I learn something every day too. So we have this eye. It's okay, and now we can go out of our edit mode, and if we press again the mirror modifier, this time it will work flawlessly because we haven't transformed our mesh. It's inside edit mode, the transformations are inside the mesh itself, it's not in the world, so you see it's working flawlessly. So I advise you, when you put your new mesh, whatever mesh it is, on the screen, to go right exactly in the moment when you create it. You go to edit mode and then move it, scale it, do something, and then you will be able to mirror without any problems. Of course, if you move it without going to edit mode, it's not a problem at all again, because you will enable all transformation. You will apply the transformation with Control A or Object, apply all transforms. This is very important, by the way. And I know that this is a lot of information in very short amount of time, but this is how you learn. You have to, and we will say all those things again and again and again through the course, so don't worry about it if you don't remember them all at once now. So it's okay. Now I will go to my sculpt mode and sculpt a little bit more on this guy. Control tab down. If I do it quick, Control tab down, Control tab left, Control tab down, Control tab left, Control tab down, tap, yeah, fast. Okay, now we are not in the Control tab down, and we are on the sculpting mode. And now, by the way, I don't want to view my brushes like this. I prefer them like this. In this way, if you grab this end, you can push it. Now they are on one line, 2 lines, and then we see their names. But with 2 lines, you see all the brushes at once. You see the masking brushes, you see the face brushes, the box face brushes, and other things. We see everything. So now I will go to my model. We are on the eyes now. How do we change models in sculpt mode? It's not just clicking on the model. You cannot do that. Clicking is not doing anything in sculpt mode. In Blender 3.0 and above, you can press Alt Q while you're hovering over the object. So I'm hovering over the eyes, pressing Alt Q will go to the eyes. Pressing Alt Q on the head will go to the head. This is extremely important. We will use it all the time, because when we're making a character, we will have a head, eyes, eyebrows, teeth, hair, you know, we'll have body, we'll have fingers, we'll have a lot of meshes here. So it will be full here. It will be 30 or above meshes, and it's very convenient in sculpting mode to go and sculpt on this one, then go to another one and sculpt, and it's just easier. Now I press G to go to my grab brush and continue working on our guy. Since I kinda don't have enough geometry, I will go Shift R and go down, down, down until the squares are on my liking. Probably 0.01 for now will be nice, but don't go much below 0.01, especially if you don't have a good video card. If you're working on a laptop, just don't go below that. Control R, of course, or we go to this triangle, we go to remesh, or we go to remesh here in the top. So you have three options. Either go with short keys, which I recommend, Shift R and Control R, or go to remesh here in the top and use this voxel size and then remesh like this, or Control R in our case, and continue working on our model. I will use various brushes, but only those brushes that I've already shown you, not any other brush I use. I use only those brushes. And those brushes are enough to make a good sculpt here in Blender. Also in ZBrush, since I'm a ZBrush artist, I was a ZBrush artist, and in ZBrush, which is an industry standard program, I also use like 10 brushes. Very rarely I use like few more, but most of the time, for most tasks, just few brushes, like 10 or so, are enough. We don't need that much. So now I will make a little bit refining here and there with my Damp Standard brush. No, Damp Standard brush is called in ZBrush. Here it's called Draw Sharp brush. And Draw Sharp brush is one of my favorite brushes. Of course, as I told you, Grab brush is my favorite, but Draw Sharp brush is one of my favorite. It makes this kind of a sharp edges and I can smooth them then, and they're sharp and then I smooth them. We have to be very careful with the smoothing, by the way. It's, yeah. So now I see this guy is very sad, so I will move this up like this. I will make him smile, let him smile a bit. Okay, good. And probably I will move the arches of the eyebrows. The ear is not exactly good, but we are fine. So I've shown you how to put another object, and as I told you, we will do this a lot, and I will show you every time how to do it. How to go from sculpting mode, go to object mode with Control Tab object mode, or if you are not, of course, in the beginning, you will not be used to this kind of shortcuts, you'll have to go to layout, sculpting, layout, sculpting, but go to object mode with layout or whatever. Here in the top, by the way, I didn't exactly show you, but this is the rendering window. By the way, now the eyes seem a little bit dark. Why? Because they're flipped. Their faces are flipped. They're in the other way. So how to fix them? We'll go to Tab to edit mode. Then we go to Mesh, Normals, or Alt N. By the way, Alt N is a little bit like so Mesh Normals since I don't, and flip. Just flip. Let's see. It doesn't work, so I'll press A again. I'll go to Mesh and Normals and recalculate outside. And it doesn't work again. I'm not sure. It's interesting. Why are they so black? But whatever. So this is, by the way, is rendering. So here you see, first is wireframe. Second one here in the top is viewport shading, which we work on. The next one is viewport shading with some, you know, you see the materials, and the last one is render window. And probably this doesn't have material, so this sphere, so we can assign some material to it. New material. And it's still not working. This sphere is interesting. Yeah, it's dark, the dark sphere of wonder. Let me try again to Yeah, we did so many things. Flip the normals. It's not working. Probably I did something which is... but whatever, it doesn't matter that much. So, now we can just continue in the next video with... Let me press this question mark. Let me take my sticky case again, restart them. They just disappear randomly, which is strange. But these are some bugs we have to work with. Overall, Blender is pretty stable program. Of course, if you go over certain amount of polygons, you will kind of have problems, lagging, especially if you don't have a nice video card. And most laptops don't have, so yeah, you're doomed. Alright, now, I think there is a little issue here. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's interesting. Probably there are two meshes inside one. Let's try to... I'll press L, and then I move it. No, it's not. They're not two. Or they are so much inside each other that we cannot exactly view them. Let's see. Press X, faces. Okay. We can always disable this sphere, of course, and or delete it and put another one. I told you how to do it. So sometimes these things happen, but we don't care. It's okay. Something with the normals is very wrong here. You see, it's amazing how wrong is this. Okay, for now, see you in the next video. Oh, this video became pretty long. Whatever. In the next video, I will show how to set up the things and we will start doing our mouse.